Hi class, I'm your instructor, Mr. G, going over with things that we're going to be talking about today. All right, so today we're going to be covering the paperwork of the class. So things that you guys need to know about as far as the paperwork goes, which is syllabus, the project list, the media release form, the first survey, the student profile sheet, and then I think that's it. All right, so the first thing you guys are going to be working on is the student survey form. On here, you have your name, contact information, your schedule, and then just a little bit of getting to know you and things about you that I need to know as far as like what kind of art are you into, what kind of art are you into, what your influences are. That helps me kind of gauge in some of the tips and tricks and things that I use. I need to understand a little bit about you so that I can make the class work in your favor. Now, after you get done with the survey sheet, for those of my students that are over 18, take care of the media release form. If you were not over 18, please take this home, get signed, and brought back the next class. That's when it's due for me. The rest of you, if you are over 18, go ahead and get it signed, turned in. Main reason is because we do a lot of film, video, pictures. I'm a big fan of using Instagram for the work to get you guys' work out there. I'm a big fan of proponent of you pushing your work out there because that gets you more applicable to pumping out your marketing your own work and understanding the realm of artwork is not just for your own creation, but it's for the creation of other people as well. And getting that out there, it's actually one of our standards where you are in coordination of the artwork that you produce and the cultures that you're trying to influence, and you working on creating a certain personal voice and a certain aspect of yourself. Again, it's all these state standards that we got to cover, and it's just the way that I like to cover it. Now, after you guys get that done, the next thing we got to take care of is the student profile sheet. Student profile sheet's this big grid thing. I do need you to fill out the top part up here, and then we're going to skip down towards the bottom edge, bottom section down here, the strategies used. It's really to tell me what is the best way for you to learn? How do you learn best? Do you like the video aspect that I do here? Do you need a one-on-one talking session? Do you prefer to see me create the artwork and then you emulate that, or working with peers? What's the best learning style for you? Finally, we're down to the meat and potatoes of the entire class itself, which is the syllabus. Now, a lot of teachers hand out a syllabus. It's a bunch of words that just tell you what you guys are going to be covering in the class. These are from the county. It's kind of the mandated forms that we have to send out. You will get this, but the one that I really go by is my project list, because on here we have a list of pictures and a check off sheet, so you can check off your work as you're moving along. I'm going to start by going over the syllabus first. So on the syllabus, just going through it along with me. At the top there you have the term. This one is going to be for service design. For service design, you have my email address. If you have a question, contact, or you have something that you need me to print off, such as images or examples of work that you've seen that you want to put more into your own stuff, email me a copy of it. I'll print it off for you. No problem there. For the units that we're going to be covering, units 4, 5, and 6 for this term. We have 3D design, designing in the round, conceptual exploration, personal voice, and portfolio development. So these projects are a little more open-ended. There's a little more independent study form into the way that these projects are created. I do expect you guys to create something that is interesting to you, as well as interesting to people, followers that you are having on social media as well. After you've taken care of the units there, board approved, book and whatnot. Don't really use books. For me, they're just, I have other books. I have an entire library in the back that I rather use, and that's what we're going to use instead, or online resources, which is what I prefer myself. A grading system for the county, it's the same across the board. Just make sure the keys for me are get the work turned in on time, get the work completed properly, and that's pretty much it. Just the rest of the stuff that's on the syllabus really pertains to basically the same thing that should be across all syllabuses. They're the same across the board. Homework policy, student progress, academic integrity, makeup work due to absences and whatnot. Make sure that you guys just read through those. It's all the same across the board, so it's the same in every single class. My expectations though for the day are my house rules: come in and take care of the work. Clean up your space after you're done. No wandering around, because you guys have way too much work to do as it is. Follow directions, no real issues there. The supplies, things that you need for class every day. I go over this in my intro video, so make sure that you guys are just come in and you take care of business. Have pencil, have paper, have anything else that I've asked you guys to bring in. But other than that, I mean, it's basic stuff. Make sure that you come with your basic gear. Signed, dated at the bottom, and turn into me next class. All right, for the project list. All right, on these project lists, these are really, again, these are guides that I've created for you to give you an overview of the projects that we're going to do, some examples of the things that I'm looking for, and then a checkoff guide so you can understand your progress. Now, for the checkoff guide, you have 5 elements that you're really going for, which is the pre-design, the sketchbook, the build, creative additions, and the assignment due date. Assignment due date, self-explanatory. When's it due? Your pre-design is your thumbnail sketches, the sketches that you've created in the sketchbook to give me kind of like a, this is what I'm thinking about creating. To the sketchbook one, you're expanding those thumbnail sketches out to a more expansive sketch design. That's going to give me your play-by-play, what you're going to do from start to finish. To the build process, you're actually creating the piece in class, and you're doing refined elements within it. For the build grade, if it is a color application project, color application is going to be a separate grade from the build or the design element of the project. So that's how we're going to stack grades up. Creative addition, again, color would be a creative addition. The burn style and the way that you're going to do one of the biography sections, that is a creative addition. And the last column that's on this paper is your art history. So for art history, it's 3 sections, meaning 300 points for each Wednesday that you're in class. Every Wednesday we have art history. Art histories are done on Verge. So if you're not here to do one, it is on Verge. It's already up there, so you can go ahead and take care of it. For each of the art histories is a 3-sectioned essay, is the best way to kind of put it down there. Each section is 100 points apiece, meaning it's 300 points for the entire grade. If you miss one section, that averages out to a 66, so you do fail that section. So make sure you're doing all 3 sections, because that's the #1 issue that students who are failing my class have. So they failed to take care of the art history. Now, each section that you take care of, as it says, 100 points. You do have a class period to take care of it in. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you write, but you can easily do that in one class period. There are X amount of art history assignments that we do per term, so that is listed on your paper. Make sure that you guys are checking those off accordingly. Now, projects for my surface design class. Now, your projects are going to be over the basic production line, 2D design, 3D design, and then your independent study section pieces. For 2D design, we're working on color, line, and texture, and how these things are relative to the surface applications of the projects that we're working on. First thing we're going to be starting off with is your project line pieces, which are going to be a demo product in your big head. Big head will be a large sculpture that we're going to be doing out of paper mache. Now, it's listed right now as the big head. It'll probably be changing more into the product itself that you're going to be making. So the demo product, the packaging that you're going to be doing, all kind of working together. I'll try to explain that more as we're going into it. Stencil, story cube, and texture papers are the first projects that we like to work on. Now, going along with the images here, you're going to select a fairy tale, just because that's something that's very basic, and you can usually find a lot of variants and varieties to do it. You're going to pick a scene out of that story, such as Little Red Riding Hood, or and I know this isn't a nursery rhyme, but nursery rhyme or a fairy tale, but Harry Potter, when the Dementors are coming into Hogwarts Castle. That scene is very iconic, and you can envision it in your head, so you can kind of see what it is. And well, we got a picture on the paper as well. You're going to be creating different panels of that scene. You're starting on things that are in the foreground of the image and moving it to the background of the image. So in between the foreground and the background, you're going to be creating about 7 to 10 cells of things that are going to happen in the scene in between. So if we were to diagram and dissect the Dementors going to Hogwarts, you would have the Dementors in the front, or you could have greenery in the front, and then the Dementors a cell or 2 cells down, and you're just greenery to Dementors, to the land going up to the river going back to the bridge in front of Hogwarts, to Hogwarts, and then another scene of Hogwarts, or a background image, which could be mountains, the moon, or something else in the distance. And that way you're creating perspective by the way of looking from front to back, and how the image shifts as it goes through each of those cells. Now, the story cube is going to be something that's, again, very similar to that, where you're creating a story or an illustration inside of a 3-dimensional space. And we're going to be doing that again with paper cutouts. So you're going to be working on the drawings and the illustrations for this, for the beginning aspects, and then we're going to be tailoring that into the piece that we're building. Now, for 3D design, you're focusing on form, texture, and space. And for these pieces, we're doing, again, paper cuts, paper vases, and foil 3D designs. Now for the paper cuts and the paper vases are it's a craft project that is kind of from Indonesian and India. I'll go into the aspects of that later on down the road, but what you're doing is you're going to be rolling the paper into a form and then stacking those papers together, similar to what we do in ceramics class. We're doing coil projects, and that's going to create a three-dimensional vase or box design that you can use, put a lid on it, to create some really cool pieces. Your independent study project really needs to focus on the stories and the ideas that you've already done, that you've pre-established in your body of work. As you get to the independent study project, you're taking those elements that you created in the beginning, and you're going to transfer those to the project at the end, so that we can see a cohesion of all the stuff that you created and your mindset and why you went down this kind of story path in the creation of your independent project. Now, your independent project is solely up to you and how you want to create it. I am going to give you a couple, guide rails as to what you're going to make and how you're going to go about completing it, but you are going to have a little more freedom to come up with the concept, the application, what you're going to be making, and the duration of how you're going to make it. During this piece, one of the last projects that I am going to be going over with you that is in this section is the pyrography unit. And for the pyrography unit, that's where we're actually going to be drawing with fire. We're not going to light stuff and there's not going to be flames, but we're going to be burning and etching into wood, which is going to create our wood designs, and that could be something that you bring into your independent study piece, or change it up however you see to fit. But that is one of the last projects that we're going to be doing in that. But I do want you to be thinking about that now, because I think that's imperative to what you start in the beginning, and as those thoughts travel across, that you don't lose track of where you started from to where you end up. So go ahead and start thinking of your concepts now. Just ideas, things that you want to get creative with, and we'll travel with those down the line. All right, class. So I have several of the videos that you guys need to watch, and I'm going to link those down in the description box below this video. Do start off with the class rules and routines. Then for my service design class, I do want you guys to go ahead and start working on product designs, as far as the names of products, things that you're into. All right, class. So I will see you maybe next class. I'm not 100% certain, because I've got a lot going on this month.